Well, PewDiePie has challenged me and you and the whole world to a reading challenge for 2025. And what that means is he has challenged us to read one book per month. And he has a list of books that he's going to be reading this year. And he invites us to read those books along with him. I'm going to be taking on this challenge. I accept this challenge and I'm really excited for it, which is why I'm making this video. And I think you should join this challenge as well. But the way that I'm doing it, there's going to be a little bit of a spin on it. So I'm going to explain all of that. We're going to get into what the challenge is, the spin that I'm putting on it, and how you can join. But before we get into all that, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And once you subscribe to the channel, just take a nice sip of coffee and just know that you're a winner. Anyways, all right. So if you don't know who PewDiePie is, I'll give a really quick recap because most people know who he is. You're probably over the age of 40 if you don't know who he is, or you're just not terminally online. So could be one of those. But PewDiePie is somebody who got famous as a gaming YouTuber back in the day. Before gaming was a big thing on YouTube, I think he got big around 2009, if I remember correctly. At least that's when I heard about him. And I thought he was really annoying at the time, and I didn't watch any of his videos. But then I did watch his videos starting like 10 years later, and he has since become probably my favorite YouTuber in the world. He's great. I actually recommend watching him, even if I disagree with him on religion. I don't think he's a Christian. So, but aside from that, his content is hilarious and also usually very helpful. He's very philosophical. He follows a lot of philosophy, especially Stoicism, which I appreciate, a lot of which is going to be on the list of books to read. So let's get into that. Oh, yeah, he was also the biggest YouTuber in the world for quite a while. So there's that too. Anyways, the list of books he's challenged us to read, I'm going to put it up on the screen here so you can see it. And you'll notice there's a lot of Eastern religion books. So the first book is a book on Taoism, the second book is In the Buddha's Words. And then further on down the list, we have Siddhartha, which is also about Buddha. And maybe that's off putting to some people. I'm actually pretty excited about these books because it allows me an opportunity to learn more about Buddhism, which is a religion that a lot of the people that I care about, a lot of the people in my family follow. So I would like to know more about that so that I can talk about that with them in a more deep manner than I could have before. And I can hopefully convince them that Buddhism is not true and that Christianity is true and they should convert. I think you can do that a lot more effectively if you actually know the religion you're arguing against rather than just saying that's false because it's not Christianity and Christianity is true and here's why. They're probably not going to listen to you. I think your best bet is to look into the religion itself and find some kind of internal inconsistency or some kind of teaching that maybe they don't even know about, and you can say, hey, if this teaches this and you don't agree with that, then how could you be part of this religion or something like that. Those are a couple of approaches. With tax season coming up, I'm anticipating a lot of you will be getting spam calls from people claiming to be the IRS and asking for your personal information. Scammers will likely send you text messages with malicious links in the hopes that you'll click it so they can steal that personal information. I used to get these a lot before I started using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura is an all-in-one online security suite, and one of the features they offer allows you to remove your information from data brokers so they can't sell it to third parties. Less data brokers selling your data means less spam calls and text messages, means less wasted time and frustration on your part. Aura also offers fraud protection, so if a scammer does get your information, they can't use it to open a new line of credit in your name. They have a VPN with military-grade encryption and so many other features that I don't even have time to list here. These are all features that I use all under one affordable subscription. To protect yourself and reduce the amount of spam calls and texts you receive, go to aura.com/SWS or click the link in the description for 2 weeks free. That will be plenty of time for Aura to do the work necessary to determine if any of your personal information is floating around the dark web currently. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring this video, and now let's continue. So I'm looking forward to learning more about Buddhism for that reason, and I'm also looking forward to some of the other books on this list, especially Discourses and Selected Writings by Epictetus. I'm really excited to read some Nietzsche, so Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Yeah, I butchered that. Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche. I've never read Nietzsche before. I always had this idea that he's an idiot and I shouldn't take him seriously. And then I've heard some people like Jordan Peterson and PewDiePie talk about how actually he's a very important philosopher and he's probably the most I can't speak, probably the most misunderstood philosopher in the modern time. So I'm excited to read that. That'll be the first thing I've ever read by Nietzsche. What's happening? But you'll notice as you look at this list that there are free months where you can read whatever is in line with your own interests. And for those months, I'm going to Christian it up, so to speak. Because yes, I'm excited to learn about Buddhism and Taoism, but I also want to take this as an opportunity to learn more about my own faith and read some of the greats that have written in the Catholic tradition. So, for example, for the month of March, which is a free month on this schedule, I'm going to be reading Confessions by St. Augustine. For the month of June, I'm going to be reading Love and Responsibility by Karol something. I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but that's Pope St. John Paul II. So I'm really excited to read that book. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Pint of Aquinas, Matt Fradd has talked about it a lot, and it just sounds like one of those books that you read it and it changes your entire life and your entire viewpoint on life and relationships and marriage and sexuality. So I'm really excited for that. I'm also excited for Confessions by St. Augustine. St. Augustine has become probably my favorite saint outside of St. Joseph, obviously. And Confessions is one of those books that I've started several times and I just had a hard time, following through with it, partially because the translation was it was like an old English kind of a translation. So I had a hard time understanding it and appreciating it. But I did find a modern English translation, which I'm very excited to get started on. So that is what I'll be doing for March, Love and Responsibility for June. September, I'll be doing The Exorcist Files by Father Carlos Martins. I've been listening to that podcast by the same name, The Exorcist Files, and it is so, so good. In fact, this might be a little personal, but my wife, who was not a believer, I've been a Christian now since I want to say like 23, 22. I am now 30 years old. So probably about 6 to 8 years. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember the timeline very much, to be honest. But my wife, the whole time, has not been a believer. And after listening to this podcast, she's like, "Oh, I think this stuff is real, and I think I should take it seriously because, wow." So if you haven't listened to that podcast, I highly recommend it. It's even interesting if you're not a Christian at all and you don't even believe in it, because it's like, did this stuff really happen? And it seems like it did, because there's multiple witnesses. It's been confirmed by like secular psychologists, psychiatrists who say this is not a mental illness, this is something else. So it's a really good podcast. I highly recommend listening to it. And I'm really excited to read the book because there's probably a lot of details that he doesn't have time to mention in the podcast that are going to be in the book. So I'm really excited for that. Then December, I'm going to be reading Jesus of Nazareth, The Infancy Narratives by Pope Benedict XVI. I've also heard a lot of good things about Pope Benedict XVI's writings, and I've never read any of them, so I'm excited to finally get my hands on that. I've read Defending the Faith, which is about Pope Benedict XVI's life. I have it right here. So here's that. Defender of the Faith. I got the title a little bit wrong, but very good book and very short. Yeah, like 150 pages or something. So check that out if you're curious about his life and you haven't looked into it. But I've heard he was a great theologian, probably like one of the best theologians of our time. And I've never read any of his stuff, so I thought, why not read about the infancy narratives in December, because that's Christmas time, so that's exciting. That'll be a good time to reflect on the childhood of Jesus, I think. Now, as part of doing this challenge, I'm probably going to be making some videos about the different books. So, for example, just to be honest, I've already read Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, which is the first book on this list. I read it like a week or two ago because it's such a short book. I think it's like 90 pages or something, and the pages are very short. You could probably read it in an hour, maybe an hour and a half, which I did, and I actually thought it was really good. I actually found myself agreeing with a lot of it. The author's idea of God is just this vague spirit that might come to you if you focus really hard or something. Like it's just this very non-personal spirit that does what it wishes, and if it comes to you, it comes to you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think that's a false conception of God. Obviously, God is very personal. But apart from that, a lot of the teachings, like it gets into not being attached to material things, which I think is great. Gets into not caring about your ego, or if you're in a position of leadership, not lording that over the people who you are leading, because that's not what a good leader does. Which are all things that Jesus taught, actually, which I think is really interesting. But since I finished reading that book, I've started listening to In the Buddha's Words It's quite a bit longer, so I thought it might be better to listen to it than to read it. And also, I was able to do a free trial with some service that allowed me to get the book for free on an audio version, so that helps as well. But so far, the book, honestly, I really don't like it, but I'm not going to talk about it here. I'll make a longer video about it in depth once I finish it, and I'm really excited to do that. I love these New Year's kind of challenges. I love New Year's resolutions. I saw some video, maybe I can find it. It was, I think it was like Casey Neistat or one of these guys talking about how New Year's resolutions are stupid, which I think is just a dumb take. I found it. So it's Gary V, not Casey Neistat. They look kind of similar though, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, let me show you the video here.
Should people make New Year's resolutions?
People should make New Year's resolutions if they're actually watching this video on January 1st. If they're watching it on December 23rd, they should make December 23rd resolutions. Waiting miraculously to when the calendar flips to start making your life better is silly at best and pisses me off at worst. And so whenever you're watching this, make a resolution every day of your life because you only get one at bat. The reason people struggle with having a New Year's resolution and sticking to it is because it was a tactic to do a New Year's resolution.
So, I mean, yeah, he's not wrong. You know, you could just do the thing that you know is a good idea to do on the day that you think of it. It doesn't have to be on the New Year. But around the New Year's is when people are typically reflecting on their past year and they're thinking about what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What do I really want to do better next year? And it just provides a good opportunity for people to have that reflection and then say, okay, starting January 1st, I'm doing this. Now, you shouldn't do that like in June. You shouldn't be in June and be like, okay, starting January 1st of 2026, now I'm going to do no, because that's too far away. But if you get to December and you think, oh, actually, there's some stuff I wanted to do better, it's hard to start new things, especially towards the end of December, because like on December 23rd, you're on vacation probably. You're on break from work, you're seeing family. It's hard to start new habits and start new things that are going to take a lot of time because you're around family all the time. You probably got 5 different events planned that you have to go to on any given week. And it's going to be really hard to dedicate a lot of time to that thing during that time. And maybe it's not a good idea to dedicate your time to that thing during that time because you should be spending time with family. You could literally do that the week after on New Year's and have all the time in the world because everybody's back to work and your family doesn't want to see you anymore anyways. But if you're doing that at the time, the one time of the year that you have like a week or two off to see your family, then probably you should see your family and not be spending your time on your computer making an LLC or something, or reading a bunch of books that PewDiePie recommended. So I don't know. I like New Year's resolutions. I think if you use it as a crutch, it's a bad idea. And obviously, most people are not going to hold to their New Year's resolutions. That's because people start things and then it starts to taper off and they stop doing it as consistently. And they don't really check in with themselves to say, hey, actually, I really want to keep doing that. What's distracting me from that? Let me cut that out if it's not worthwhile. And then I'm going to go back to doing the thing that I said I was going to do this year. If you have those regular moments of reflection and checking in on how am I doing, then I think you can keep your New Year's resolutions, but most people just don't because we get too busy with life. But maybe, I don't know, set a reminder on your phone for 2 months from now, let's say, and have that reminder say, you know, cut the BS, get back to your New Year's resolutions, stop it. That's just an idea. I don't know, maybe that's stupid. But I think New Year's resolutions are good overall. And one of my New Year's resolutions was to read more because this past year, 2024, I didn't read very much. I think I read a handful of books and I could have read a lot more if I just managed my time better. But, you know, come bedtime, I'm always on my phone scrolling. And if I were to spend the time that I spent scrolling just on reading a book, I probably would have read 50 books in the year 2024. So this year, I am not going to do that. I am going to read the books and I'm excited for that. Now, if you want to join this challenge, go over to PewDiePie's YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description to his YouTube channel. And you can go to his community section. It might be too late to sign up. Let me check. Hold on. So yes, I've just confirmed you can still sign up for this. It is not too late. I will put a link in the description to the post where PewDiePie puts a link to a Google Doc where you can sign up. If you don't follow through, he's going to put you on the list of shame. So make sure you follow through. Make sure I follow through because I don't want to be put on the list of shame. And in the description of this video, I'm going to put all of the books that I'm reading on the free months. So you can join me in those if you'd like to. I think it'll be really fun for all of us to do this together. Also, I don't think any of my real life friends are big readers, so I don't think they're going to really join me on this. So if you guys join me on it, then at least I have some friends to do this with, and it'll keep me on track a little bit better. Anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. If you enjoyed this video, even if you didn't enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Consider becoming a member for early access to these videos and exclusive perks. You can do that by clicking the link in the description. And until I see you next time, God bless.